The galaxy was a vast, cold place. For centuries, humanity had looked out into the stars, hopeful but cautious. They had never imagined that a single fleet could shake the very foundations of the universe. Captain Emma Harris stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, Earth's flagship. It was a grand vessel, armed with advanced weaponry and a crew that had trained for years to protect humanity. Yet today the ship felt too small. The hum of the engines, usually comforting, now sounded like an ominous countdown. "Captain, we've received a strange signal from the outer rim," said Lieutenant Cooper, his eyes glued to the screen. His voice was tense, betraying his usual calm demeanor. "It's not human." Emma leaned forward, her brow furrowing. "What do you mean, not human?" Cooper hesitated for a moment. "It's too complex, Captain. It's like they're trying to communicate, but it's not any language we know." Emma's heart skipped a beat. The outer rim was a place of little importance. Few ships ventured there, and the area had been free of alien activity for decades. "Something was wrong, something big. We should alert command," Emma said, trying to mask the unease in her voice. "Already done, ma'am," Cooper replied, his fingers typing furiously at his console. "But they haven't responded yet." The seconds stretched into minutes. The feeling in the room grew heavy. Emma tried to focus, to keep her mind clear. She had to remain strong for her crew, but deep inside, a sense of dread was creeping in. Then, without warning, the Odyssey shook violently. The lights flickered, and the whole ship seemed to groan under the stress. Alarms blared throughout the bridge. "Status. Report," Emma barked, her voice sharp. "Shields are down to 60%, Captain," Lieutenant Cooper shouted, sweat dripping down his forehead. "Weapons systems are still online, but..." Another shockwave hit, even harder this time. The Odyssey lurched to the side, sending the crew stumbling. "Report!" Emma shouted again, her mind racing. What was happening? What kind of enemy had the power to do this? "We've been hit by some kind of energy blast," Cooper said, his voice shaky. "It's coming from a fleet. Captain, there's a fleet out there." Emma's eyes widened. A fleet? The outer rim wasn't a place where fleets gathered. She looked at the star map on the wall, watching as a blip appeared, moving rapidly, toward Earth. "How far?" she asked, her voice calm despite the growing panic. "About 2 hours away at current speed, Captain," Cooper answered. "But they're fast. Way faster than anything we've ever seen. Are the other fleets ready?" Emma asked, trying to think ahead. But she knew. She already knew. Earth's defense forces had been weakened over the years. Most of the fleets had been sent to maintain peace in the outer colonies. The Odyssey was one of the last ships with full combat capabilities. And now, here they were, facing a fleet they knew nothing about. "Negative, Captain," Cooper said. "Most of them are out of range. We're on our own." Emma's mind raced. She needed to act fast, send a distress signal. "Get as much information as you can. I want to know everything about that fleet." As Cooper tapped away at his console, Emma stared at the map. The unknown fleet was approaching too quickly. There was no time to wait for backup, no time to analyze. Further, the attack had already begun. "Captain, they're sending another signal," Cooper said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm not sure, but it looks like it's a warning, or a challenge." "Challenge?" Emma repeated, her mind trying to grasp the idea. "What do they want from us?" "We don't know yet, ma'am, but it's clear they're not here to talk." Another jolt rocked the Odyssey, and this time the whole ship groaned in protest. The hull was taking damage, and the shield systems were failing, faster than they could be repaired. "Are we receiving a reply from command?" Emma asked, her tone demanding an answer. "No, Captain," Cooper said, his voice filled with frustration. "The communication channels are jammed. We're completely cut off." Emma's fists clenched. She was used to facing difficult situations, but this was something else. A fleet of unknown aliens, faster than anything humanity had ever seen, and they were heading straight for Earth. The Odyssey was all they had, "Prepare the crew for combat," Emma ordered. "All hands to battle stations. We may not have time to make a strategy, but we will fight." As she turned to face the view of the stars outside, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The fleet, so massive and mysterious, would not stop at one strike. The challenge was not just surviving this battle, but understanding the enemy. Why were they attacking? What did they want from Earth? The questions echoed in Emma's mind as the ship continued to tremble from the blasts. The unknown fleet was closing in fast, and there was no turning back now. "Captain," Cooper said urgently, "I'm getting something. A massive surge of energy. They're preparing for another attack. It's unlike anything we've ever seen." A cold shiver ran down Emma's spine. It was clear now. This wasn't just a military assault. It was something far more calculated, far more terrifying. The enemy had power. They had intelligence. And they weren't afraid. "We need to get out of here," Emma muttered, her voice low. "We need to warn Earth before it's too late." But deep down, Emma knew that no matter how fast they ran, no matter how much they prepared, Earth's fate was already in the hands of a mysterious and unstoppable enemy. And the countdown to destruction had already begun. The story ends on a note of suspense, with the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. The unknown fleet is approaching, and there is no clear answer as to why or how they've come to attack. The captain, Emma Harris, has only moments to prepare for the upcoming confrontation, and the fate of humanity lies in the choices made in the next few hours. The darkness of space seemed even colder now. Captain Emma Harris stood alone in the quiet command center of the Odyssey, staring at the blinking lights on the console. Outside, the unknown fleet was drawing closer, its enormous size slowly becoming clearer with each passing minute. The fear was growing within her, but she couldn't show it, not in front of her crew. "Captain," Lieutenant Cooper's voice broke the silence, his words sharp with worry. "I've analyzed their communications again. It's like nothing we've ever encountered. They're not trying to talk. They're preparing something." Emma turned to face him, her expression hard. "Preparing for what?" Cooper hesitated before answering. "A strike, but it's different from anything we've seen. It's too precise. Like they know exactly what we'll do." A chill ran down Emma's spine. If they could predict Earth's every move, they would be impossible to fight. The Odyssey wasn't built to face such an enemy. She swallowed, pushing away the fear that threatened to overwhelm her. "Captain, we're running out of time," said Ensign Elena, one of the younger officers, her voice trembling. "They're too close now. If we don't do something, we're going to—" "I know!" Emma cut her off, turning back to the star map. The enemy fleet was only an hour away now. "Get me a direct link to Earth Command," she ordered. But as Cooper tried to establish contact, the monitors flickered. A red warning flashed on the screen. "Communications were down. We're cut off again," Cooper said, his voice grim. "Nothing's getting through." "Damn it," Emma muttered, her mind racing. They were on their own. The tension on the bridge was suffocating. Crew members moved quickly, checking systems, preparing for the worst. But Emma could see the fear in their eyes. The Odyssey was the last line of defense. If they didn't hold, Earth would fall. "Captain," Cooper said, "I'm getting another signal. It's not like the others. It's a countdown." Emma's heart skipped a beat. "A countdown?" "Yes, Captain. They're counting down to something, and from the way the numbers are displayed, they're not in any human format." "What does that mean?" "It means we don't know what it means," Cooper replied, his hands shaking slightly as he typed commands into the console. A loud rumble shook the ship, followed by a series of warning alarms. The Odyssey lurched violently. Emma grabbed onto the nearest rail to steady herself. Her thoughts raced. The enemy was attacking, and they hadn't even fully arrived yet. "Report!" she shouted. "We're taking fire, Captain!" Lieutenant Williams yelled from the tactical station. "Shields are holding, but only just. They're hitting us with something energy-based, but we can't analyze it in time. Return fire, Emma ordered, her voice steady despite the rising panic in her chest. Target their lead ships. Full power to our weapons. The ship's guns fired, but the alien vessels moved with eerie precision. It was clear they were prepared for every move humanity could make. The energy blasts from their ships hit the Odyssey again, shaking it violently. The lights flickered. "Captain, we've lost power to the aft thrusters," Cooper reported, his face pale. "We're drifting. We can't maneuver." Emma's hands clenched into fists. They had to get out of this. They had to fight back. "Can we jump to hyperspace?" she asked. "We could, but not without getting torn apart first," Cooper answered. "Their technology is far more advanced. If we try to jump, we won't make it." A terrible thought crossed Emma's mind. The aliens weren't just here to attack. They were here to test humanity's strength, to break them. "Captain!" Cooper suddenly shouted. "The countdown! It's almost at 0. They're going to fire something huge." Emma stared at him, her eyes wide. "What do you mean, something huge?" "The signal, it's like a massive energy pulse. It will destroy everything in its path if we don't do something." Before he could finish, another violent shockwave slammed into the ship. The Odyssey groaned as metal screamed against the force of the blast. Crew members shouted, scrambling to hold on to anything that wasn't bolted down. "Shields are failing!" Williams yelled. "We can't hold on much longer!" Emma's mind raced. The enemy was preparing something they couldn't stop. They were too powerful, too prepared. If they didn't act fast, Earth was finished. She had to think. There had to be some way to turn the tables. Suddenly an idea struck her, a risk, but it was their only chance. "Cooper, I need you to reroute all available power to the forward laser array," she commanded. "We'll use everything we have, even if it's just one shot. But Captain, that'll leave us with no defensive systems. We'll be sitting ducks." "I know," Emma replied. "But if we don't take that shot, we won't survive. Anyway." Cooper looked at her for a long moment, weighing the decision. Finally, he nodded. "Understood. Rerouting power now." The ship shuddered again as the countdown neared its final moments. Emma's heart was pounding in her chest. This was it. She had one chance to stop them. One shot. "Lock on target," she ordered. The Odyssey trembled as the energy surged through its systems. The crew held their breath. A tense silence filled the bridge. Captain Cooper said quietly, "We're locked on. We have one shot." Emma swallowed hard. The fate of Earth rested on this one decision. Fire. The laser fired, a brilliant beam of pure energy blasting from the front of the ship. It shot toward the alien fleet with incredible speed. For a moment, everything seemed to stop. The alien ships froze, as if time itself had paused. Then the beam collided with the enemy's lead ship, causing a massive explosion. The shockwave of the blast rippled through space, sending smaller ships tumbling into one another. The countdown on their screens blinked and stopped. Captain Cooper whispered, "We did it. They've stopped the countdown. They're retreating." Emma couldn't believe it. Against all odds, they had won. The enemy had been defeated, for now. But as she watched the remnants of the alien fleet scatter into the void, Emma knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. There was more to come, and Earth would have to be ready. The Odyssey had survived, but the war was far from over. The stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the chaos unfolding in the outer rim. Captain Emma Harris stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, her eyes fixed on the glowing points that marked the scattered alien ships. The victory had been hard won, but it felt fragile. Every explosion had left a mark, and the crew was exhausted. "Captain," Lieutenant Cooper said, his voice tense, "I'm detecting movement, not retreat. Something else. Smaller ships. They're coming back." Emma's heart sank. "How many?" she asked. "Too many to count, ma'am. And they're faster than before." Cooper replied, eyes glued to the scanner. Emma clenched her fists. Get battle stations ready. We can't underestimate them again. The crew scrambled. Warnings blared through the corridors as the smaller alien fighters began their attack. Their movements were precise, almost too precise, darting between blasts, avoiding collisions with uncanny skill. The Odyssey rocked under a barrage of laser fire. "Shields at 50%, Captain," Ensign Elena shouted, gripping the rail. Emma's mind raced. "Return fire! Target the lead fighters! Don't waste shots on stragglers!" As the Odyssey's weapons fired, several alien ships exploded, but many more continued their advance. The smaller vessels moved like a swarm, coordinating perfectly, anticipating every human maneuver. Emma felt a rising panic. They had survived. One attack, but this was different. "Captain," Cooper said, pointing at the screen, "they're not just attacking. They're testing us. Look at their patterns. They're studying our moves, learning." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Then we have to change the pattern, do something unexpected." "Like what, Captain?" asked Elena, fear in her voice. Emma hesitated. "I don't know yet, but we have to try." Suddenly the ship shuddered violently. An alien fighter slipped through the defenses and rammed the hull. Sparks flew. "Hull breach, Section 4, the engineer yelled. "Pressure dropping." Emma's stomach tightened. "Seal the section, now!" As the crew worked frantically to repair damage and repel attacks, Emma paced the bridge, trying to find a strategy. Then an idea struck her. "Cooper," she said, "deploy the decoys. Draw them away from the main fleet." Cooper's eyes widened. "That's risky, Captain. We only have a few decoys left. If they see through it, they won't." Emma interrupted. "We have no choice. Prepare them for deployment." Minutes later, holographic decoys launched into the void, flickering like ghostly ships. The alien fighters hesitated, then veered toward the decoys, giving the Odyssey a chance to regroup. Emma felt a glimmer of hope. "Now," she said, "we attack the lead ships. Use everything we've got." The human weapons fired with renewed force. Explosions lit the darkness as the alien fleet faltered. For a moment it seemed the tide had turned, but then the unexpected happened. From the shadows of a nearby asteroid field, a massive alien vessel appeared, larger than any they had seen before. Its energy signature dwarfed the Odyssey's. "Captain, that ship," Cooper whispered. It's a command vessel. All those fighters are coming from it." Emma's jaw tightened. So the swarm wasn't the main force. They were just scouts. The alien command ship unleashed a wave of energy that slammed into the Odyssey. Shields flickered and failed. The bridge shook violently, throwing crew members to the floor. "Divert all power to forward shields. Brace for impact," Emma yelled. The crew obeyed, but the impact tore through the ship. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and the hull groaned under the pressure. Emma gritted her teeth. Humanity was on the defensive, but she refused to surrender. "Target the command ship," she ordered. "Concentrate fire on its engines." The weapons fired, striking the alien vessel. It shuddered, but did not fall. The energy wave returned, striking the Odyssey again. Cooper spoke urgently. "Captain, we can't hold this for long. If we don't retreat, the ship will be destroyed." Emma's eyes scanned the monitors. Retreat meant leaving the alien fleet free to attack Earth. She shook her head. "No, we fight. We fight until the last shot." "Captain, there's another problem," Elena said quietly. "They've started locking onto Earth signals. If they fire, they could reach the planet in minutes." Emma's stomach dropped. "Then we need a plan. Fast." She considered their options. Hyperspace jumps were too risky with the command ship nearby. Any sudden maneuvers could destroy the Odyssey. But she remembered the decoys. Perhaps there was a way to use them again, lure the command ship into a trap. "Cooper," she said, voice firm, "launch the remaining decoys directly toward that asteroid field. Make it look like we're retreating." Cooper's eyes widened. "You want to bait them into the field?" Yes, Emma said. If they follow, the asteroids can do the rest. We just need one lucky hit. The decoys launched. The alien command ship hesitated, then pursued them. Emma held her breath as it moved into the asteroid field. "Now," she shouted, "fire everything!" The Odyssey unleashed a barrage, directing shots at the rocks around the command vessel. The asteroids exploded under precise fire, colliding with the alien ship. Sparks, metal, and fire erupted as the massive vessel stumbled. The alien fighters faltered, giving the humans a chance to escape. The Odyssey limped through the aftermath, battered but alive. Emma looked at her crew, exhausted but determined. "We survived," Cooper said, relief in his voice. "But that was only a small part of their fleet. There's more out there." Emma nodded, staring into the darkness. "Yes, and they'll be back. We need to understand them, learn their weaknesses, and prepare. Earth's safety depends on it." The crew sighed in unison, a mix of exhaustion and determination filling the bridge. They had won the battle for now, but the war had only just begun. Outside, the stars shimmered silently, indifferent to the struggle below. And somewhere in the void, the alien fleet regrouped, preparing for the next strike. Emma clenched her fists. Humanity had survived today, but tomorrow they would have to be stronger, smarter, and ready for whatever came next. The Odyssey drifted silently through the void, battered but unbroken. Captain Emma Harris stood on the bridge, staring at the stars, her mind racing. The alien fleet had retreated, but only temporarily. She knew they were analyzing every move humanity had made. "The next strike would be far more dangerous, Captain," Lieutenant Cooper said, breaking the silence. "We've scanned the wreckage of their command ship. Some of the systems are still intact." Emma turned sharply. "Intact? You mean we can learn from it?" Cooper nodded. "Yes, ma'am. There's alien data we can access, communications, fleet movement patterns, even weapon schematics. If we decipher it, we might find a weakness." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Do it. Every detail, every signal. We can't afford to miss anything." Hours passed as Cooper and the science team worked tirelessly. The alien language was complex, but patterns emerged. Symbols repeated, formations mirrored human tactics. Slowly, a strategy began to form. "Captain," Cooper said finally, "I think I've found something. They operate on predictive algorithms. They calculate our likely moves based on past actions. But there's a gap, a delay in their calculation. If we act unpredictably, we can exploit it." Emma felt a spark of hope. "Good. That's our chance. Prepare a test mission. I want a small strike team to engage them in a way they won't expect." Meanwhile, in the control room, Ensign Eleanor frowned. "Captain, what if we fail? They'll detect us immediately and retaliate with full force. Earth could be lost." Emma's gaze softened, but her voice was firm. "We won't fail, Elena. We have to take the risk. If we wait, they'll come back stronger. We strike first, and we strike smart." The crew prepared the Odyssey for the reconnaissance mission. Small attack ships were loaded with specialized technology, decoys, jamming devices, and experimental weapons based on the alien schematics. The goal was simple: test the enemy's response and discover their true weakness. "Launch. Teams Alpha and Beta," Emma ordered. "Stick to the plan, gather data, do not engage unless necessary." As the small fleet departed, Emma monitored their progress from the bridge. The silence was tense, broken only by the faint hum of the ship's systems. Minutes later, alarms blared. "Captain, Team Alpha has encountered an enemy patrol," Cooper shouted. Emma leaned forward. "Status?" "They're scanning for movement patterns, but our jamming devices are working. The aliens can't predict our next move," Cooper said. "Good," Emma said. "Let them think they're in control." The small attack ships darted through space, luring the alien patrol into a trap. The humans moved unpredictably, weaving and splitting in ways the aliens could not anticipate. Energy blasts missed or collided with the decoys, creating confusion. Suddenly, an alien ship broke formation and targeted Team Beta. Elena's voice trembled. "Captain, Beta's in trouble. They're surrounded." Emma gritted her teeth. "Redirect all data streams to them. Use our signals to mislead the enemy. Cooper, make it look like a retreat." The command console flickered as Cooper adjusted. "The ship's transmissions. They're falling for it, Captain. Beta has a path. They're moving toward the asteroid field." Emma exhaled, tension easing slightly. "Good. Keep them covered. Don't let them fall behind." As the small fleet maneuvered, Cooper pointed at the scanner. "Captain, look at this. The aliens are changing their formation. It's erratic now. They're struggling to predict us." Emma smiled faintly. "Exactly. That's the gap we needed. Now gather as much data as possible. Find the core of their strategy." Hours later, the small fleet returned with critical information. The alien command patterns, weapon triggers, and energy flow mechanisms had been partially decrypted. Emma studied the data with Cooper. "This is it. This is what we need. Their strength lies in coordination, but their core calculations are rigid. If we disrupt that central command, the entire fleet falters." Cooper looked at her, eyes wide. "You mean we can stop them before they even attack Earth?" Emma nodded. "Yes. But it won't be easy. We have to strike at the heart of their fleet. One small mistake, and we risk losing everything." Elena spoke softly, almost to herself. "Captain, what if we can't? What if we fail?" Emma placed a hand on her shoulder. "We won't fail. We've learned their secret. That knowledge gives us the advantage. Now we have to act with precision." The Odyssey began preparations for the next mission, a deep strike into enemy territory. Every crew member knew the stakes. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for humanity itself. As the stars passed by the ship, silent and cold, Emma looked out into the darkness. The enemy fleet awaited, powerful and merciless. But now, for the first time, humanity had a plan, a chance. "Cooper," she said, her voice firm, "prepare a full report for Earth Command. They need to understand what we've found and make ready for the counterattack. The next move is ours." Cooper nodded, fingers flying across the console. "Understood, Captain. Earth will be ready." Emma turned back to the viewport, her reflection merging with the stars. She felt a rare spark of hope. The battle ahead would be dangerous, but knowledge was their greatest weapon. And for the first time, humanity might have the upper hand. Somewhere in the void, the alien fleet was regrouping, unaware that their strategies had been partially exposed. They believed themselves unstoppable. They were wrong. Emma clenched her fists. "The next strike will be theirs, or ours, and we will be ready." The silence returned to the bridge, but it was no longer the silence of fear. It was the silence of preparation, of determination, of a plan coming together. Humanity had learned the enemy's secret, and now the war could truly begin. The bridge of the Odyssey buzzed with controlled chaos. Captain Emma Harris moved among the crew, checking systems and giving orders. For the first time in weeks, hope had replaced fear. Humanity had a plan, and 10 newly built fleets were ready to follow it. "Captain," Lieutenant Cooper said, tapping at the console, "the other fleets are in position. They're waiting for our signal." Emma nodded. "Good. Synchronize all 10 fleets. We strike together. Timing will be everything." The stars outside the viewport glittered cold and distant, but Emma's eyes were sharp. The alien fleet was vast, powerful, and relentless, yet now they had a weakness discovered during the reconnaissance mission. Knowledge was their weapon. "Captain," Ensign Elena said nervously, "do we know exactly where the command ship is?" Emma glanced at the tactical map. "We have a general location. It's near the Omega cluster, but they'll be expecting some kind of attack from us. That's why this has to be coordinated perfectly. We'll strike from multiple directions simultaneously." Cooper nodded. "All fleets are ready. just waiting for your command." Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility. Send the signal, now. Across the void, 10 human fleets sprang to life, emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation. The alien patrols reacted instantly, but the coordinated strike caught them off guard. The human fleets attacked from multiple angles, splitting the enemy focus. Explosions lit the darkness as ships collided in deadly ballet. "Captain, they're trying to regroup," Cooper shouted, scanning the enemy movements. "They're stronger than expected." Emma clenched her fists. "Keep the pressure. Focus on their command ship. Everything else is a distraction." The Odyssey led the main assault, weaving between laser fire, dodging energy blasts, and targeting weak points in the alien formation. Sparks flew across the bridge as shots hit the ship, but Emma refused to yield. Humanity's fate rested on this battle. "Shields at 40%, Elena called out, gripping the rail. "Forward weapons, fire," Emma commanded. "Concentrate on the lead ships and clear a path to the command vessel." The human fleets pushed forward with synchronized precision. Alien fighters fell one by one as the fleets advanced. For the first time, the humans saw the enemy faltering, but victory was not easy. From the shadows, a massive alien dreadnought emerged, larger than anything they had encountered before. Its energy signature pulsed with raw power, dwarfing the Odyssey and the other human ships. "Captain, that ship," Cooper said, his voice tight. "It's more powerful than we anticipated. If it fires, it could destroy half our fleet in one strike." Emma's jaw tightened. "Then we take it down first. Focus fire on its engines. We need it disabled before it can attack." The fleets concentrated their weapons on the dreadnought, blasting relentlessly. Explosions rocked its hull, but the massive ship held firm. It fired back, a wave of energy sweeping across the human formation. Several smaller ships were destroyed instantly, sparks and debris streaking into the void. "Damage report," Emma barked. "Multiple losses, Captain," Cooper replied grimly, "but the main fleet is still intact." Emma's mind raced. They had to act quickly. Deploy decoys to the left flank, draw their fire, and create an opening for the main attack. The decoys blinked into existence, shimmering like ghostly ships. The alien dreadnought reacted immediately, firing on the false targets. Human ships slipped through the chaos, taking careful aim at its engines. "Hit!" Elena shouted as the dreadnought shuddered violently. Sparks and smoke erupted from its power cores. Emma allowed herself a brief nod of satisfaction. "Good. Keep pressure. Don't let them recover." The other alien vessels faltered as their command ships struggled. Coordination broke down, and the human fleets took advantage, cutting off escape routes and eliminating enemy fighters one by one. "Captain," Cooper said, voice tense but excited, "the command ship's shields are failing. We can end this now." Emma glanced at the tactical map. The command ship was exposed, surrounded by the remnants of its fleet. "All weapons. Focus. Fire! Take them down!" The human fleets fired in unison. Beams of energy struck the alien vessel, penetrating its hull. It shuddered violently, then exploded in a brilliant flash that lit up the darkness of space. Debris scattered in all directions. "Command ship destroyed," Elena shouted. Emma let out a long breath, relief and exhaustion washing over her. "Status? All fleets accounted for, Captain. Loss is minimal compared to what could have happened," Cooper said. Emma looked at her crew, faces illuminated by the flashing consoles. "We did it. For now, Earth is safe." But she knew better than to celebrate fully. The alien fleet might be crippled, but they were not gone. Somewhere, out there, remnants would regroup, adapt, and return. Humanity had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Elena smiled faintly. "We actually did it. We defeated them." Emma placed a hand on her shoulder. "We survived, and we learned. That's what matters. Knowledge and preparation. We'll keep Earth safe next time." Cooper nodded, scanning the horizon. "Captain, the other fleets are reporting." Everyone is cheering, humanity's first major victory in this war. Emma allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. The relief was short-lived, but for this moment, the crew could breathe. They had struck back and won against a superior enemy. "Prepare for regroup and repairs," Emma said. "We need to be ready if they return, and trust me, they will." As the human fleets moved away from the battlefield, the stars seemed less cold, less distant. Humanity had taken a stand, shown courage, and discovered strength beyond what they knew they had. Emma stared out at the void, her reflection merging with the starlight. "The war is far from over," she whispered, "but we've shown them that Earth will not fall quietly, and next time we'll be ready." The silence of space returned, but it was no longer empty. It was filled with determination, courage, and the knowledge that humanity could fight and survive against the darkness. The stars over the battlefield burned cold and silent, reflecting the wreckage drifting through space. The alien fleet had been defeated, their command ship reduced to debris, but Captain Emma Harris knew it wasn't over. Victory had bought them time, not peace. Somewhere in the void, the enemy would regroup, and next time they would be stronger. On the bridge of the Odyssey, the hum of damaged systems filled the silence. Crew members moved quickly, repairing what they could, their faces pale with exhaustion. "Status report," Emma said, her voice calm but firm. Lieutenant Cooper scanned the monitors. "Shields at 30%. Engines are stable, but we've lost half of our long-range sensors. Fleet-wide, repairs are underway, but many ships won't be ready for another battle soon." Emma nodded. "Understood. Prioritize repairs on communication relays. We need to keep Earth informed." Ensign Elena turned in her seat, her young face still pale. "Captain, do you think they're coming back?" Emma's gaze shifted to the window, where faint sparks flickered in the distance, the last traces of the battle. "Yes," she said quietly, "they're regrouping, and they'll return with more firepower." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The silence of space suddenly felt heavier. Moments later, the comms officer spoke sharply. "Captain, I'm picking up something, a faint signal, not human." Emma stepped closer. "Play it." A low, distorted hum filled the bridge. The sound pulsed in strange patterns like a heartbeat. The crew listened in silence as the message repeated again and again. Cooper analyzed the signal, his fingers flying across the console. "It's not a distress call," he murmured. "It's a rallying cry. They're calling reinforcements." Emma's stomach tightened. "From where?" "Unknown," Cooper replied grimly. "But this frequency is bouncing across multiple systems. It's like they're waking something up." Elena swallowed hard. "More fleets?" Emma nodded slowly. "Yes, bigger ones." The weight of her words settled over the bridge. They had won one battle, but a storm was coming. "Captain," Cooper said suddenly, "there's something else. In the data we gathered, there's a location, a central hub. It's where all their signals originate." Emma's eyes lit up. "A command hub?" "Yes," Cooper confirmed. "If we destroy it, their fleets lose coordination. They'll become disorganized, easier to fight." Emma turned sharply. "That's our next target. Mark the coordinates. Send the data to all fleets." "Captain," Elena said hesitantly, "if this hub is as important as it seems, it'll be heavily guarded. We might not survive that strike." Emma looked at her. "If we don't, Earth won't survive at all." The room fell silent. The decision was made. Hours later, 10 human fleets gathered in deep space. The ships, though damaged, formed a massive armada. Pilots whispered prayers. Engineers worked tirelessly. Soldiers checked their weapons with grim focus. Emma stood at the center of the Odyssey's bridge, staring at the holographic map. The alien hub appeared as a glowing sphere deep inside a nebula. Its energy readings were immense. "Begin hyperspace jump," Emma ordered. In an instant, the stars streaked into lines of light as the fleets leapt toward their target. When they arrived, the sight stole their breath. The alien hub wasn't a station. It was a colossal machine, a fortress of living metal, its tendrils stretching through the nebula like a spider's web. Energy pulsed from its core, feeding hundreds of alien ships circling it like vultures. "God," Elena whispered. "It's alive." Cooper's voice was grim. "And it's ready for us." The alien defenses moved instantly, swarming toward the fleets. Weapons fire lit up the darkness. Explosions tore through the void as human ships met their enemies head-on. "Forward, shields up," Emma barked. "Focus on clearing a path to the hub." The battle raged fiercely. Fighters darted between massive cruisers. Laser beams crisscrossed like deadly webs. Ships exploded in bursts of light, scattering debris through space. "Captain, casualties are climbing," Cooper reported. Emma's jaw tightened. "Stay on course. We take out that core or none of this matters." The Odyssey pushed forward, engines screaming under the strain. 2 Allied ships flanked it, shielding it from enemy fire. Emma's plan was simple but brutal. Cut through enemy lines, plant a strike team on the hub, and detonate it from within. "Cooper, prepare the strike team," Emma ordered. Cooper hesitated. "Captain, are you going with them?" Emma met his gaze. "Yes, this ends today." Minutes later, Emma stood in the launch bay, suited in heavy armor, her weapon at her side. The strike team gathered around her, silent but resolute. "Remember," she said, her voice steady, "we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every world they'll destroy if we fail." The dropship detached, weaving through chaos as enemy fire streaked past. Explosions lit up the nebula around them. The alien hub loomed closer, its massive structure pulsing like a heartbeat. "Brace for landing!" the pilot shouted. The ship slammed onto the hub surface. The strike team rushed out, weapons raised. The alien metal beneath their boots shifted, almost alive. Strange tendrils moved across the surface like veins. "Stay sharp," Emma said. "Plant the charges and hold position." They moved swiftly, setting explosives at key points. Alien drones swarmed, their metallic bodies glinting in the dim light. Blaster fire echoed through the void as the humans fought desperately to protect the charges. "Charges are set," Cooper's voice came over comms. "We're clear to detonate once you're out of range." But Emma wasn't ready to leave. She noticed something, a glowing core deep within the hub, visible through a crack in the alien armor. "That's it," she whispered. "That's their brain." "Captain, get out of there," Cooper urged. "We can destroy it remotely." Emma shook her head. "No, we need to make sure it's gone. Cover me." She ran toward the crack, enemy drones closing in. Blaster fire lit up the surface as her team fought to protect her. Emma reached the core, planted a final charge, and sprinted back toward the dropship. "Detonate now," she shouted. The explosion was deafening. The alien hub convulsed, its tendrils snapping, its glow fading. Energy rippled through the nebula, tearing enemy ships apart as their coordination collapsed. "Captain, we've done it." Cooper's voice rang with relief. "Their fleet's falling apart." The Odyssey and the other human ships moved in, destroying the scattered alien vessels. One by one, the enemy fell silent. As the humans retreated from the burning wreckage of the hub, Emma collapsed into her seat on the dropship, exhausted but alive. Back on the Odyssey, the crew cheered as the last enemy signal vanished. Elena turned to Emma, her voice trembling. "Is it over?" Emma stared at the stars. "No, but tonight we gave them a reason to fear us." The fleet regrouped, battered but victorious. Humanity had faced annihilation and struck back with courage and cunning. The war was far from over, but Earth now had hope. As the stars glittered beyond the viewport, Emma whispered to herself, "We survived the storm, and when they return, we'll be ready."